Dungeons and Dragons. Our heroes entered the room. Glancing around the room, our heroes immediately noticed the body, furniture and clothing thrown about the room, blood and glass all over the floor, a locked suitcase, and a strange felt doll. The woman was definitely the politician's wife. The captain pleaded with our heroes. He does not want the first trip of this train to be ruined and desperately asks the only group of people on the train he is 100% confident did not commit this crime to solve it and bring the villain to justice. He also wanted it to be kept quiet, so he asked them to not tell anybody about this, which I'm sure our heroes will do. Our heroes begin to search the room. Smith immediately found the mime hiding in the drawer under the bench. On his person, he found a lot of gold, 2 golden bracelets, and a diamond ring which he recognized as being the victim's. Meanwhile, the captain was telling anybody who passed by that the red fluid on the floor was definitely paint and not blood. Our heroes examined the body and noticed a large sliced cut to her chest, and she was also missing her heart. Smith arrested the mime and handed him over to the captain. Happy began performing her ritual to speak with the dead. Meanwhile, out in the hall, Mr. Anderson arrived and Team Charisma went to intercept. Due to the ritual, the body shuddered back to life, and Happy began asking her questions. She replied that she doesn't know who killed her. She saw herself before she died. She was here to stage of rescue. She was rescuing a little girl. And she said the executioner took her. Meanwhile, the interrogation outside was also going well. Due to the absolute size of this lad, they managed to get him to spill everything. He admitted that the executioner killed the prince because he ordered him to. He also explained that he didn't pay the executioner because he didn't have to because he got caught. Also, he explained that the executioner had connections to the mafia. Screech recorded everything and our heroes arrested Mr. Anderson. The captain enlisted the help of a passing-by passenger and they escorted the 2 to the vacant chicken cages. Our heroes then continued their investigation of the room. In the locked suitcase, they found a gold orb and a vial of powder. They also found a bloody knife underneath the felt doll that definitely isn't evil, or at least as far as Smith is concerned. Everyone was very suspicious of this inanimate felt doll for some reason. Smith looked at the suitcase objects and began checking if they were magic in any way. Also, the captain returned and let our heroes know that the room the body was found in was checked out by Snyder and York. Just before Screech was going to cut up the body with the found knife for some reason, he was reminded that he has some dogs in his pockets. He summoned his dogs and put them in Anton on a leash. He then had them smell the knife and made them follow its scent. The scent trail led our heroes to the pool car and the trail ended by the edge of the pool. Upon lifting up the tile, our heroes found some dried blood that looked as if it had seeped through the gaps in the tile. Seeing some passengers ripping up the tiles, Dynamite Danger Dave Dillon walked over and asked what they were doing. Our heroes explained that they definitely weren't investigating a murder and asked him if he had seen anybody walk by. He explained that he had seen the mime, the priest, the woman who Happy impersonating, the DJ, the politician, and the black and red tabaxi walked through. Our heroes then went over to talk to the priest. After some questioning, he explained to our heroes that the room that the murder victim was in was his room and that he shared it with a shaggy old fellow who was repenting for his sins. Screech's dogs successfully acquired the priest's scent while this was happening. Our heroes then entered the dining car. Here, Screech immediately spotted a coin that had been glued to the ground. But he's a buff bird who had no problems ripping up the floor for 1 coin. Happy, disguised as Mrs. Anderson, asked the bartender a couple of questions. She explained that Mrs. Anderson was drinking and reading a newspaper at one of the tables and that the woman who was with the child left the child in the care of the priest and left towards the back of the train. The priest then got up and left the child all alone. Then the chef called the bartender into the kitchen for a moment, and when she exited, the child was gone and saw Mrs. Anderson got up from the table and hurried through the door towards the front of the train. Happy then went and took a look at the newspaper. She saw some articles. One was about Dynamite Dave Destroyer Dennis's and Odin Oakley's tag team gladiatorial victory at the World's Fair. One article was about a strange cult that worship a strange deity and preach about cleansing the world of sin, but they shouldn't be trusted. One article was about an escaped convict named Eddie the Executioner. And one article was about a new train that was being unveiled at the World's Fair and showed its captain Gideon and its inventor Flappy get over here shaking hands. Happy recognizes the inventor as the guy who Screech stole their room from. The photographer of the World's Fair photos was actually the woman at the table next to Happy, and she explained some of this information. Meanwhile, Screech found the balloon he gave to the girl and gave it to his dogs to track. After taking down a very angry and drunk Kenku, the dogs led our heroes to a nearby standard-sized up-to-code air vent. Our heroes sent Flappy down the standard-sized up-to-code air ducts to see where it led. Flappy found that the vent connects to the pool, the murder room, and a room that has the same layout as the murder room that Happy doesn't recognize. Meanwhile, Smith finished inspecting the items that were found in the suitcase. The orb he found to be some kind of containment object that contains what Smith believes to be a basilisk eye. The powder, on the other hand, he discovers that if you take the powder and mix it with someone's blood and you apply that mixture to something, it transfers that person's soul to that new object. Our heroes decided they had a few more things to ask their priest friend and decided to go looking for him. That was when the DJ appeared from the back door and walked with our heroes. Our heroes entered the party car just in time to see the priest exiting through the door on the other side. However, as they made their way through the car, the door opened again and the two tabaxi entered. That was when the DJ picked up a microphone and proclaimed that everyone had arrived and snapped his fingers. The doors on either side of the car slammed closed, trapping our heroes and the tabaxi inside.